Brodes Media.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome on in to Sports Talk with Brodes. Now, I was self-reflecting this morning, all afternoon, all throughout the evening, and now we are recording Monday night. My post-game show, Eagles Saints, was arguably the maddest I've been after a win in Sports Talk with Brodes history. And I wanted to dig deeper on why. What could have possibly caused me to be so outraged after a win? And this was the conclusion I came to. I'm convinced we're doing it again. If Jalen could clean up the turnovers, well, it's been a long time now of consistent turnovers. The Nick Sirianni discussion, he's calling plays on some fourth downs. The third and fourth down play calls aren't married together because it's two guys trying to do one job. Nick feels as if he has to force certain fourth down play calls because he doesn't do much else. So he's trying to put his fingerprints on this as head coach. And the turmoil is happening behind the scenes again. Last year, I told myself a win is a win. And it's so hard to win in this league. And then we got screwed over because we got hit in the face with a dose of reality. And everybody around the Delaware Valley had very similar thoughts. We knew something wasn't right when. And the when being when they squeezed out wins and they were somehow getting it done, but it didn't add up. Yet now we are sitting in the same exact position again, and it's, yeah, they're injured. Yeah, Devontae Smith could have fought harder on a route, or yeah, they didn't play preseason, or yeah, there's a new offensive coordinator. What did you expect? All I'm hearing is more excuses on why they can't score, on why they can't produce. And in reality is, this just may be what it is. And that's what I'm starting to recognize. And now that that is hitting home and I'm getting smacked with it heavily, I'm losing my cool. And it's not so much about the rest of the league. Dallas is getting destroyed. It's not as if the Kansas City Chiefs are blowing everyone out, winning by 30, although they're different. I mean, their track record. I saw a little clip from Boston Sports Radio earlier today, and they were going through the first 100 starts of Tom Brady and Pat Mahomes. This is ridiculous that you can't compare yourself to with Andy Reid and Pat Mahomes the way Tom Brady and Bill Belichick are on an island by themselves. So I acknowledge that there aren't teams that are wowing you as the 49ers had a insane collapse, and now you're getting a ton of information about the health and status of their big-time stars, just like the Eagles are dealing with. This is all I'm asking for. Okay, I'm not asking them to go 15-2. I'm not asking them to never lose a football game again. This is my standard. Because I'm trying to think, what would satisfy me, knowing the state of the league, seeing some of these other quarterbacks, how it relates to completion percentage for Jalen and all sorts of things. Remember when the team was great? I'm just talking about regular season-wise. Forget NFC championship games. Forget all that. I'm talking a random stretch when we had good seasons and the team was rolling through opponents in a 5-week span. Week 5 to week 10. Every week you knew the opponent was going to lose. You knew the Eagles were winning. It was good, solid football, and you had that attitude. I don't don't remember the last time we had the consistency. Good football. No, oh my, they had 0 points through 3 quarters because the Nick Sirianni stuff, this may hurt to hear if you're a big fan of him. The level of coaching we got on Sunday afternoon wasn't just a head coach making a 50-50 call that didn't necessarily work out and then we debate it. Should he have done this? Should he have done that? Okay, that happens. Okay, that happens. That's normal. Mike Tomlin or anybody else will make a decision as a CEO head coach, and then we'll talk about what he should have done, what he could have done. Okay, is that worth the risk? What Nick Sirianni was doing was actually flat out stupidity. It was incompetent coaching. It was actively screwing up and then it snowballing out of control where you're trying to make up for other situations you already screwed up and more screw-ups were happening and it couldn't stop. You know when Nick starts to answer a question and he starts vomiting out of his mouth? He was essentially vomiting all these poor decisions one after one after one after one, trying to double down. And it clearly never panned out. I'm now in a mindset of they are last year's Eagles again until proven otherwise. Now, is it impossible to find rhythm? No, absolutely not. There are plenty of games, and sometimes it snaps. It clicks. After a big win, week 6, week 7, then they start to feel comfortable, confident. They're believing in the coach, and then it snowballs in a great way. It's very possible. It's not impossible. But the head coach and the offensive coordinator are not cohesive. I don't know if when Nick Sirianni thinks I'm going for it on 4th, if Kellen Moore knows that. Because it doesn't seem over 3 weeks, and there's probably 7 or 8 different examples on where the third down play calling is completely unique and has nothing to do with the relationship of the 4th down play calling. And Nick made it clear today in his day after presser that there are going to be times for him to make that decision. So week 3, he's overriding Kellen Moore with big ramifications on the line. And that's not necessarily a bad thing because I keep getting hit with a similar counter with Nick about it. Like, well, don't you, I guess this is when he doesn't do anything. And it's like, well, don't you want him to stay away? Yes, but I also want that role to be valued. I do want there to be a valuable piece to Nick Sirianni. So I'm not going to rip him for stepping in on 4th downs or for wanting to maybe override Kellen Moore because that's what a head coach should do. The problem is you are stripping your coach. And this is what I knew was going to happen. This isn't surprising. This isn't hard-hitting. We've essentially broke it all down last year, and they decided to run it back with a different variation. But the real issues lie here with the systemic problems based off of the awkwardness and the lack of togetherness from Nick to Kellen. It doesn't seem it's a bond of brotherhood. That's just me being honest with you. So why did I get so aggravated? To summarize and to tie a bow on that point, it's probably because it's settling in that we have a quarterback that turns the ball over too much. And I'm with you when you point out that he changed things at the line of scrimmage. Kellen Moore and his ability to have a play designed where motion is active or pre-snap movement. Jalen sees something in the field. He sees something in the coverage. He pulls Dallas Goedert eye to eye and goes, yo, dude, you know what I'm saying? And then bang, let's make it happen. The routes created all the nonsense in the middle of the field and gunked it up a bit, which allowed Goedert to get all the way down close to the end zone. That's Kellen Moore, and that's Jalen Hurts seeing something prior to snapping the ball and making a change. And I'll even give him credit when there was a blitz coming. He thought there was a blitz coming. He changed the play at the line of scrimmage, had a quick route over to Kenny Gainwell. The play ended up being not very effective because he got baited into it, but that is still a sign of him recognizing certain things, and that's just a learning curve, and I can acknowledge that Jalen's getting better there, and Jalen did win the football game without AJ, without Devontae, without Lane Johnson, of all people, with Darius Slay getting hurt. This is an impressive win on the resume, but it is a straight up copy of how they were winning last year before their true colors showed. How am I supposed to get fooled again? J. Cole, he says it best. Fool me one time, shame on you. Fool me twice, can't put the blame on you. Fool me 3 times, fuck the peace sign, load the chopper, let it rain on you.